Talk to me, Coach.
Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, there we
There
go.
we go. All right.
The pride of Huntsville, Alabama. It is time to catch up with Keidane McAlpine, and this is a first. First off, welcome to the morning show, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
And all the chaos that is attached. There is a reason that we have you here. Actually, there's a couple of reasons. I do want to ask about the spring and what you learned about yourself in the spring, which ended about a month ago.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about what's going to be slated for August. And it is a very cool thing that UGA soccer is looking to do, and that is blow up attendance records when it comes to soccer. And I mean that in the most friendly sense possible, because it is James Madison and it is the University of Georgia in August between the hedges, where the football is FUTBOL. It is not FOOTBALL. I love this idea. Break this down, and we'll dive into the weeds here on it. But break this down for us.
Well, we had a unique opportunity, right? There's so many things. There's the 30th anniversary of the gold medal game being played in Sanford Stadium, and most people don't remember the soccer history here at UGA and how big that was for women's soccer specifically. It was massive, but for soccer in the U.S., it kind of continued and pushed into the 99ers, a little bit more into the 99ers. And so for us to be able to pay homage, that was one piece of it. Two, it's a unique situation in that while on the West Coast with SC, we played in massive stadiums a few times, always against our rival UCLA and once against Florida, actually, in the Bank of Cal. And in our rivalry games versus UCLA, we averaged about 8,500 people. And in one game, we actually got to 11,000 plus. And so it was a unique way to kind of honor that. And the coach that we're playing against at James Madison was part of that UCLA staff. And so it was a fun way to kind of piece all these things together and really see if we can't elevate women's soccer again, but the collegiate side.
How far back a thought process was this? Was this just something that, you're having lunch over at the varsity one afternoon and it's like, hey, why don't we do this? How far back are we talking here to come up with this notion?
Well, always thought about it. I'm like, man, it would be really fun for our players to play in there, right? And as we, look to potentially looking at the World Cup and thinking about teams coming in and potentially playing in there, it was like, wait a minute, there might be an opportunity here, and with women's soccer starting a little bit earlier, football, the American kind, following a little bit later, there's a nice little carve out for us to potentially play before they really get going, and which is optimal for a game like this. So it probably has been about 6-7 months really kind of cooking it up and thinking about the details, and then the ding went off, the bell went off when you started thinking about the Olympic piece of it. And you're like, wait a minute, if there's ever a time to do it, this is it. And so it all fell into place. Kirby was fantastic. Josh Brooks was fantastic. And so here we are.
When you have the to-do list, and I always like to ask coaches, administrators, front office folks, when it comes to either birthing a franchise or having an event like this, I know there's always a to-do list. Yeah. And I don't know where the to-do list is. I mean, it could be on, one of these binders like we had when we were in high school. These notebooks. Could be a Gmail thing where I'd be sitting there going, how do I access my Gmail to look at the G Drive and all of these shared documents? Could be on that whiteboard behind your right shoulder, tucked away in the corner, where it could be a bunch of different lines and arrows and thoughts and things like that. This big 6-foot by 8-foot thing with different colors, red and black and arrows and everything. Where is that to-do list currently to make this event sing? And what do you think the next thing that you can cross off that list is, just so you can sit there and say, okay, yeah, we're moving forward here?
Well, that list is in my bag. It travels with me because it's all, it's one of those things. But, I'm really fortunate, right? It was one of those things where once you start to establish a game like this, an event like this, then it draws upon so many other people. And now we're starting to meet, once or twice a month. From here to the end, we're going to be meeting, trying to make this thing go. But the biggest part of this is exactly what I'm doing now, letting people know what's happening. Whether it's and seeing if we can't, get U.S. Soccer a little bit more tied in, see if we can't get Atlanta United as they add a new team to jump on board with this, to see if we can't get all of the local clubs, and I say local, from Tennessee to Alabama to Georgia to Florida, all locked into this, to see if we can't get people to fly in for an event like this, because in this change of landscape world, this is an event that could actually get a lot of views and allow women's soccer in particular, our athletes, to be forward facing in a major way. And I think that's a wonderful thing in this day and age to be able to push out there.
I would imagine, though, that if somebody comes in from Tennessee, orange is not allowed to be worn in the building. Garnet is not allowed.
For an event like this, as long as they're cheering for the SEC, I'll let them wear whatever color they want.
Okay. Okay. Because, as you and I both know, it just means more, or mas, or however you want to phrase it. But I mean,
yes.
it is a great opportunity, and you as an ambassador for soccer, not just in the SEC, but obviously in your time out west as well, 3 time zones away, where you're looking at the growth of the sport. And you mentioned that moment with USC and UCLA that you had in the past. Go from that moment with USC and UCLA, the crosstown rivalry, to where you are right now here in the SEC. What has it been like for you over the last handful of years to see the game go from that moment there, you coming over back here to the Eastern time zone and the East Coast, and now being presented with this kind of an opportunity to just literally blow things up and sit there and say, hey, look, y'all can come into this tent and we can really raise the roof on this thing. What's it been like for you to see the growth from your time coming back from the West Coast?
Honestly, it's exciting. It's exciting. We've got 2 sustainable leagues on the women's side that are doing really well. The opportunities for women to play not only here in the States, but to play abroad in multiple leagues, to see the growth of the youth game, to see more and more commercials, to see women's sports in general on the forefront, to go from there where you're competing with everything else that's going on in LA, and to get those kind of crowds coming here where there's a little less of that, but a lot more tradition and fandom in and around the school, the SEC, the region in general. I'm hoping this region shows up in the way that we were able to get LA to show up for a game like this, because the sport, the game, the World Cup happening, all of these things kind of right in this window of time lends itself for a really exciting game, 2 really great teams. But women's soccer to be showcased in a way, especially collegiate women's soccer, while the pro game is growing and continue to climb, we need to still showcase these collegians, because for some of them, this will be their biggest stage. But for many of them, they'll go on and continue to play. And that's the exciting piece.
When you mentioned the collegiate game when it comes to women's soccer, if you were king of women's collegiate soccer for a day, I give you the scepter, I give you the wand, I give you the robe, the crown, everything. If you had a day where you're wearing that outfit, and obviously the robe is going to be red and black, obviously.
Yes.
You got the crown, the scepter, the magic wand, the robe, the whole thing. How would you grow, and I'll put that word in quotes, and you can take it whatever direction you want.
Yeah.
How would you grow women's soccer if you were grand exalted poobah of women's soccer for a day? Could be the collegiate game, could be nationally, internationally. What would you do to increase awareness, to increase productivity, to increase activity, and get folks engaged in it who may not be either on the field or off? You're the one who's in charge for a day. What would you do to get the word out?
Well, there's a group of coaches out there, the IWSOC, that are working very, very hard to improve visibility, to improve viewership, to improve opportunities to be seen on linear television. I mean, as you watch the growth of some of the other collegiate sports, that is the next space for us to conquer. And we're going to start, some preseason events similar to those in other sports, the basketballs, even in football, those tournaments, for lack of a better word, to see if we can't get more viewers in on the show. We're also looking to do some things where we have um, the idea is being thrown around about having more teams come into our College Cup space, so we have a longer tournament where more people can see it, potentially even have multiple divisions there in one space, so that you just get more of a fandom. Our sport is a little different. We do have supporters groups, and we make noise and we yell and we scream in different ways. But there is a similarity, right? When you look at the MLS games and you look at what's happening with Atlanta United and the crowd that they get. I was laughing with somebody because I'm like, listen, they just took what the soccer model, the soccer model, yes, but they took the collegiate sport in the SEC model of tailgating and going and putting them in the building, right? It's the same, except it's for the
my friend. Amen to the
it's
choir.
for the adults, right? And so we need to continue to try to drive that kind of energy for this collegiate game, and bring our supporters groups and get some little unorthodox things going. I would love to see that, because I tell you now, right, that the competitive landscape in collegiate women's soccer is unbelievable right now. Yeah, you still have those, teams that everybody's used to seeing at the end, but I'm telling you, there are a lot of coaches doing some really good work, and the level is elevating. And just like you're seeing the parity show up in what we consider the major sports, you're seeing it at the women's soccer level. You're seeing it all across, and whether we like it or not, the landscape is a landscape, but it's helping us actually grow our game and create more parity. And I would want to continue to see those type events to get us more on linear TV, television, to get more fans in the spaces, so that we could continue to put these women who work so very hard front and center for everybody to see the work that they do.
Well, and obviously, you know that you can knock on our door at any time, and we will
Love that.
those voices to help you out with that. And that's and you mentioned the southeastern impact, and this is one of the things that I've been trying to impress upon folks over the last decade. Basically, if you go to, well, we'll use Atlanta United since that's our footprint right here. If you go to an Atlanta United game, they have taken that SEC college FOOTBALL experience, and transferred it into what we're seeing with the FUTBOL. And so that's why you got all of these crowds, all this fever, all these groups, all this noise and excitement. It's just been moved over to soccer, and I know if you and I are sitting here, we're sitting down, we're breaking bread, on Broad. It's like, we figured this was going to be the case. Everyone else outside of the Southeast seems to be genuinely surprised that this is the response that is happening in the Southeastern United States. But the Southeast, to paraphrase, the Southeast got something to say, and you're seeing that transferred over. This doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise you.
Not at all.
It seems to surprise everybody else outside the Southeast.
Well, I mean, it's funny. I had an assistant one time when we were on the West Coast that, was from another footprint. I won't even mention that footprint, but was from another footprint. But we were able to come down and play. I think we played Auburn and Georgia at Auburn. But I used some old friends and let them go into the football game, and all of a sudden, to see the tailgate experience, to go through that tailgate experience, to come into a game, to see the event that is just a game like that, all of a sudden it made sense why we talk about the way we go about our business down here, the way we have so much reverence for it and so much excitement about it. And it doesn't surprise me that you're seeing it, Charlotte, Nashville, here, like you're seeing it in this footprint on a major way. I don't think that's going to change. I think it gives our fan base something else to do in a different part of the year that is very similar to what they're used to doing, and I think that's phenomenal. And so I think it's now for me, it's how do I take our normal football crowd and bring it to football on the same weekend and have them extend the weekend and make it a little bit longer. And so an event like this, playing in the stadium, is one of those events to say, hey, hey, we play big time. We play in the same season. Come see us, check us out, stay a little bit longer on the weekend, extend this experience that you're having, and come watch these women do their thing.
And this is not going to be another situation where the hedges are removed and taken
No.
someplace. They're staying.
Hedges are staying. The field will be a little smaller, but it is what it is for an experience like this. It is probably not optimal for the way we like to play, but at the same time, one thing I can take from an experience during COVID in LA, we played in the Coliseum. It was just where we had to play because that was what it was. The field was smaller and tighter. We played some great games. We had a great experience. We had a good time. And so I expect this to be no different. This is exactly what we're looking for. We just now need the people in the building to create the overall experience. And to be fair, we would like to honor those women that started it 30 years ago. I mean, to set the record is one thing, but to really show them the honor and show them how far the game has come here in Athens, here in the state of Georgia. We've got U.S. Soccer here. We've got Atlanta United here. We've got our club here. We've got so many other smaller schools in the state of Georgia that are playing some great soccer. So for me, that is that is the hope. That is the experience that we're looking for.
Thursday, August 26th, 30, Dooley Field, Sanford Stadium. James Madison comes in to take on the University of Georgia. And once again, admission free for all spectators with ticket claims beginning on Thursday, July 30. I know you turn into a pumpkin because I know that you're a very, very busy day. But I wanted to ask about your takeaways from the spring schedule ended about a month ago. And you had various levels of competition going up against UGA. What are some of the things that you're taking away from the spring schedule that you're working on going forward?
Biggest takeaway. I'm glad we got all of our young people in the building in the spring. we needed to grow a little bit. No, I mean, I think we are exactly where we thought we would be when coming into Georgia. We wanted to change the reputation of Georgia soccer, right? We wanted to change that. I think we were able to do that in the first few years, but we did it through the portal. We did it by bringing in 1 and 2 years eligibility left players and helping push it forward. We brought a couple of players that were familiar with us and we helped move the needle. We have since this freshman class from 2025 started to shift it. And we want to build where we have some players in the building for longer periods of time that can really grow the culture and whatnot. And so we last year was a great first step, and now we expect to take another jump. We've got some really talented women from all over the country, from a couple other countries, and I like where we are. But we needed to have a couple of mistakes and get some people out there and get through their first jitters of playing their first collegiate game. And that's what this spring was. And now our starting point is a little bit further down the road. This will also be the first summer that we get access in mid-July, which is fantastic. Now we can have a true build into our season, which historically we haven't had. We'd had 2 weeks, ready, set, go, play. Now we've got a full month to kind of get them acclimated and prepared for the rigors, and we can also be a little bit more prepared. So I'm excited for where we are. I'm excited for our team, and I think our schedule is hard as always, and lends itself for us to have a chance to really grow ourselves and be prepared for the SEC run.
Yep, and the state championships on the high school level, they start today. So you could be probably having folks sitting in front of monitors staring at a lot of folks at Coney County and Jefferson. You got wide. I mean, that's a big one today to start things off. I know that you've got folks that can do that for you. You now officially have been welcomed into the idea of the morning show here. So you now know where the garage door opener is.
Yep.
You know where the key is under the mat. So if there is anything, and I mean anything that you want to talk about, east, west, north, south, around the corner, come in at any time. Just let us know. Shoot me a note. Sitting go, yo, Nelson, I need to come in. I need to get something off my chest. Literally, that's all you got to do. And I know you got to tell Jake Stanley first and foremost, hey, Jake, I'm going to go on the morning show here. I can't thank you enough for doing this, and we will continue to revisit as we get closer to soccer at Sanford, and it's going to be really cool. The FUTBOL Between the Hedges in August. Coach, I can't thank you for dropping by enough. It's been fantastic to see you. Don't be a stranger. We'll catch up soon, my friend.
Thanks so much. It's been a pleasure. Go Dogs.
Well, yes, and the woofing that is appropriate that goes with it. It's Keidane McAlpine. He's the head coach at the University of Georgia, and he has survived the morning show, people.